Follow this tutorial to change your shock absorbers. You will find the parts and tools required for replacement in the description. Remove the steering rod using a socket, then hit it from below so as not to damage the thread. You can also use a ball joint puller. Then separate the swing arm from the rocket with a 17 and 16 mm ratchet. A force bar may be needed to free the ball joint. Then remove the upper spindle nut using a ratchet and wrench. Once the fixing screw is removed, insert a wrench into the slot of the. Then hit the spindle to separate the spindle from the shock absorber. You will then have to support the spindle so as not to damage the drive shaft. You can now remove the shock after untie the top nuts. Once the shock absorber has been removed, place the spring compressor and compress it. This tool is available in description for about €20. When the coil spring is sufficiently compressed, remove the upper nut of the shock absorber. There should be no tension on the cup. You can also use a wrench combined with a Torx bit to remove it. During the replacement, it is important to note that only gas shocks go back automatically to the original position. Oil shocks don't go up automatically. It is important to initiate the new shock absorber before installing it. Insert the stopper on the new shock absorber together with his dust boot. Position the shock absorber in the coil spring, then install the different parts including the cup. Sometimes it's advisable to replace the pad depending on the wear of the rubber. After tightening the nut by hand, you can carefully remove the spring compressors. Let's move to the installation. Grease the spindle to facilitate the passage of the shock absorber. Then tighten the upper nuts of the strut. Then insert the shock absorber cartridge into the spindle and tighten it to 55 Nm. Remember to check that the lug fits into the slot. You can use a jack. Then put the ball joint of the swing arm in the steering knuckle, then tighten it to 75 Nm. Tighten the stab bar to 75 Nm and the steering rod to 45 Nm. You can now tighten the center nut of the shock absorber using a wrench and a Torx. You can then degrease the disc with some brake cleaner. The assembly is finished. You can find all the parts and tools in description. Do not hesitate to share your questions or advice in comments. See you soon and subscribe.